This is Innovledia.
Hello and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to render your scene or animation in Maya. Alright? Rendering is the last step where we create our final output. And this output can be in many formats. Like, we can either render our scene into an image file which will contain only a single frame shot even if it is an animation. Or we can render our scene into an image sequence which will contain all the frames of our animation rendered as separate image files. There are two ways to render a single frame of our scene or animation. The first is by using the Arnold RenderView, and the second is by using the render sequence option located under the render menu. And you're not going to find this menu unless you switch to the rendering menu set from this drop down. Okay? Now, before you start rendering your scene, make sure you have made all the necessary changes in the render settings and you have set all the values for producing a good quality image. Like, you should definitely set the image format. What to render? In this case, it is single frame, the camera, then the dimensions, and all the sampling and redepth settings. Once you have set all of these, you can close this window. If you have an animation within your scene and you want to render only a particular frame of your animation, you can simply drag the sliders to move on the frame which you want to render. And then you have to go to the Arnold menu and click on Arnold RenderView. Click on this render button and wait for the render to finish. On the bottom right of this window, you will see the progress bar. You have to wait until it reaches 100%. Once finished, you will see the render time here on the bottom left of this window. To save this output as an image file, you have to go to the File menu and click on Save Image. Here, you can choose a location where you want to save the image file. By default, it saves everything within the images directory of our project folder. You just have to enter a name for the output, like I'm going to enter Final Render 01, and you can just type in the extension manually, like .png or JPG, whichever you like, and it will save the image in that particular format as the extension. Click on Save to save the file. If we go to the Images folder of our project, we are going to find the image file that we saved using the render view. You can right-click on the image to check its properties. You will be able to see its format, the file size, and also its dimensions. Alright? Make sure you stop the live update and close the render view. In the same way, you can use the render sequence option to render a single frame as an image file. You just have to go to the render menu and click on this box icon for render sequence. This will bring up its options where you have to click on the render sequence button to start the rendering. This will open a new window where you will see the rendering in progress. You have to wait until the rendering is complete. Do not open any other programs during this process, otherwise your system might freeze. Okay? So be careful. Once you see this render time and all the other details, it means the rendering is complete. The good thing is that you don't have to save anything manually. You will find this rendered image within the same images folder where we looked previously. Here it is. It is going to have a similar name as your project file. And the image format as well as the dimensions are going to be exactly what you have selected within the render settings. Alright? Now, to render an animation into an image sequence, You have to first go to the render settings and select a naming format from this drop-down, something like this, and change this frame padding to 3 if there are only a few hundred frames in your animation. If you have more than 1,000 frames, you can change this to 4, okay? For the sake of this demonstration, I am going to reduce the dimensions so that it takes less time to render the sequence. You can keep it to whatever you want, okay? Once you are set, you can close this window. You can also save your file if you want to save those settings. Then go to the render menu and click on this box icon for render sequence. Here, within its options, you can actually select the camera from which you want to render the animation, just like it was there within the render settings. Then, you can also select a different location to save your image sequence. In case you don't want to clutter your images folder, you can create a new folder by clicking here on this folder icon. Enter a good name and select that location to save the images. Once you're set, you can simply click on the render sequence button and it will start the rendering process. Now this is going to take a longer time because it has to render each and every frame of your animation one after the other. You can take a look at the progress bar on the bottom left side of Maya right on the help line. In the meantime, you can also take a look at your images folder or the location that you have selected for saving the image sequence. You can see the progressing frames appearing one after the other. Coming back here, you can also see the current frame that is being rendered. Let us wait for a while until this is complete. Okay, so once the rendering is complete, you will find all the frames of your animation here within your selected folder. We can either use these frames for post-processing in programs like Photoshop or After Effects, or we can use them directly for our purpose if we want. Post-processing is mainly for making the final adjustments such as color correction, cropping, or compositing. In case of an image sequence containing your animation, you can use After Effects to convert it into an MP4 video, which can be played on any device. This is the interface of After Effects, perhaps an older version, but the process is going to be similar. You just have to open the image sequence in After Effects by double-clicking here within the project panel. Then go to the folder where the image sequence is located. Select the first image and make sure this option is checked and click on Open. Then right-click on the sequence, go to Interpret Footage and click on Main. Here, you just have to set its frame rate to what you had used in Maya for this animation. In this case, it was 60 frames per second. So, I'm going to type here 60 and click on OK button. Now, drag this sequence into the timeline and you can do any color correction if you want by going to the Effect menu. I'm going to select Curves. Make sure the sequence is selected when you add this effect, otherwise it won't work. I'm going to use a preset for now to save some time. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You can even play this sequence by clicking on this button here or by hitting the number 0 on the numpad of your keyboard. This is called a RAM preview. Alright? Then go to the composition menu and click on Add to Render Queue. Here you can set the video format by clicking here on lossless or any other name that you see here beside this output module. You just have to click on it. I'm going to choose H.264 from this drop-down. This will create an MP4 video as the output. In case you do not find this option, you can select AVI and click on the Format options and select the XVID MP4 codec or the one above. This codecs may not be present in this list by default. For that, you have to download and install the K-Lite Mega Codec pack on your computer. Alright? Once you are done, you can click on OK and then OK again. But for now, I am going to select this H.264 and click on OK. You can also select the output location where it will save the file by clicking here on this name. I am going to go to the same location and select the movies folder and also type a name and click on save. Then click on render. This will render the sequence with all the color corrections and effects and create an MP4 video which you can use for your purpose. Once you see this status as done, it means the rendering is complete. I can go to the movies folder and here is the video that we created from the image sequence. I can even play it in a media player. You can share this file with anybody you want, and he should be able to play it on any device that he uses. You can follow the same process for your other projects. Alright? So, this is how you can render your scene or animation in Maya. See you in the next video.